You might think when you look at Owen Jones, who's been exemplary about Gaza, Rainier Kalick, Abby Martin, and so on, that you're seeing people who actually care about the children of Gaza. That would be grossly untrue. Let me explain how I know that. When I went to the federal building at 700 Stewart Avenue to discuss the situation in 2007 or so regarding the letters of Gail Burstyn, it's impossible to deny, by the way. George Galloway would be impossible for him to deny that in 1994 I announced publicly at Carnegie Mellon University that the Israelis were involved in a revenge plan to avenge Auschwitz. NAACP can't deny that either. It's in the microfilm. So instead of denying it, they refused to address it at all. That shows how concerned they were for the children of Gaza. The truth is that the women sandbaggers, Abby Martin and so on, you can just tell, are a lot more concerned about clitoral stimulation by the Beatles than they are about protecting children of the world from the Beatles. And when I went to the federal building, I talked to the librarian, an elderly woman. I said, I described how I was arrested because I wanted to present evidence of a crime. I said, wouldn't you think that they should look at the evidence before they declare that it didn't say what it factually says? And she said, you would think so. You would think that the sandbaggers would be concerned that there was evidence that was sufficiently compelling that Israel was engaged in a revenge plan for Auschwitz, that somebody like me, a member of an academic honor society, went public and announced a warning about a revenge plan for Auschwitz. You think they would go back and look at it? You would think so, was what the librarian said. You would think that, but you would be wrong. Because what they said instead was the bullet outweighs the musical notes. In other words, Ronald Reagan's idiom is more important than all of the people who were being murdered. It's like a Philadelphia Inquirer cartoon. Over here you have the bullet, which is Ronald Reagan's idiom. And over here you have all the musical notes, which is all the children who've been murdered and buried under the rubble. And they say, what are they going to say? You were right about Israel, but you're still wrong about Reagan? Nah, nah. This was when El Salvador was going on. Penis Gabriel was so, he was going, only love can make love, and referring to me while he gets a Senegalese yammer to attack me in the neuroplasm that they implanted. I mean, if you need any evidence that Gabriel knew all along about the script of Gail Burstyn, you can look at the way he paired me with Youssou N'Dour on the album So, because Youssou N'Dour's yammer triggered the Burstyn plasm, the enemy within. There's a wavelength, and one a drill, like a lancer, like a lance the boil. I mean, that was 1984 when they were saying the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. They're not going to change the way that they have it set up. They're not going to admit that they refuse to look at the evidence. They're not going to admit that Paul McCartney is the defense attorney for Gail Burstyn. They're not going to admit that there's a partnership that was going on all along between Yoko Ono and Gail Burstyn. All the evidence confirms that. They're not going to admit that the NAACP only told the truth about the thing once, and that was when Duvall said, I know Bush started AIDS, and I support him for it. The NAACP never cared about the AIDS victims. What they cared about was winning the Pussy Ball war game over Midori Goto. They will show you how slick they are at the tavern if they win the Pussy Ball game. It's really very demented and sadistic. I went to court trying to get a mandamus against Bob Ferguson, whose fanatical weirdos give me Parkinson's so that they can call me neurally, logically diverse. And say, see, he has a disease too. This is the sort of uh, logical system that the University of Pittsburgh deploys when they put German Green Party on the back of senior faculty's obituary who have been poisoned and murdered. You see, the German Green Party, I'll explain, they used the swastika in old days. There were Joseph Goebbels and Wilhelm Brom show that the German Green Party, the injecting party of Jill and the nerve agent crowd, which is all in print, and I'm not making any of that up. I'm not just connecting things. This is in their own writing admitting that they were involved in the injecting the nerve agent and the German Green Party. But aha, they use the swastika. Zell advocates for Goebbels, right? They use the swastika. But aha, the Proctor jumps down, holds PP, says the swastika is the ancient, the honorary, the African ancestor symbol. So the Heinz family are each of the African honorary, the African symbols of life because they use the German Green Party swastika. And this sort of mentality, it comes out of the University of Pittsburgh as a wavelength that goes yada, 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 from Senegal. And, it's like panicking. Senegalese distances themselves from the French now. Penis used to talk to me in French, so they have, they have Lammy panicking about Israel. No. We sanctioned them for starving 14,000 infants. And Senegal panicking about Penis Gabriel. No. We've kicked out the French. No. What could be more incriminating than what Duvall said? It incriminates the entire Sandbagger crowd. In 1994, putting the evidence forward that they refuse to admit even exists, I warned that Israel was out for revenge for Auschwitz. And these sandbaggers who are just, Aaron Jones is just panicking. He recognizes when Lammy is in a panic, but all he's doing is panicky too. Oh no, I said the world is turned upside down for Brother Reagan. Brother Reagan believed that Sabra and Chantilla was a Holocaust. They have no common decency. You would think I would say common sense, but they have plenty of common sense. They just don't apply it because they have no common decency. Virginity does not prove rape. You can go through Allah, you can evoke all of these people's names. You can connect things through the thin air. Playing puzzle match with pictures of a different puzzle, pieces from completely different puzzles. Till the tea kettle goes off. It makes no sense whatsoever that the University of Pittsburgh ignored evidence that Ronnie Curry was poisoned, that Gail Burstyn's letters do in fact implicate and did in 1993 Israel in a revenge plans for Auschwitz, that Germany is not honoring the African ancestors because they used the swastika, And Goebbels is not a normal symbol of the Jewish Defense League. It's not normal, Nelson. It's not normal to use Goebbels as a symbol of the Jewish Defense League. Do you understand that, Nelson? It's not normal. It's a provincial norm of the University of Pittsburgh, I suppose. So is letting John Schulman rip off $8 million and driving me into homelessness, saying men who kidnapped and gassed me were my friends, and I didn't want to admit it because they were honorary the black men, because they were white allies of Nosferatu from Poland, and I was a sissy. It's not normal, Nelson.